Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Well, as you can see in the title of the video, today I wanted to take a moment to address this subject that has caught my attention lately, especially because of the misinterpretation of this subject um, and this caught my attention since, the accusations for that happened for this NCT and YB member Lucas. That allegedly this one of these people that accused him of a lot of things. One of the main words this person used it's that she was gaslighted by him. So a lot of people were commenting and talking and using the term as if because you know what bothers me the most as a therapist and as a counselor, because I do not know these people, but I would like at least my audience to get a bit educated about what this term means and about how serious this is and about how complex and how dangerous this gaslighting is. And to see someone like reading something on Twitter or this person statement and to reproduce it and to talk about it and to copy it and to include it in their language, as if it was really like a very oh yes, I was gaslighted. Oh yes, this is gaslighting. And it's like you don't even know what you're talking about. So I wanted to take this moment to talk a bit about gaslighting. This person that made the accusation to Lucas, actually, that she felt like he was gaslighting her. And of course that we have to take this into consideration because we don't know whether this is true or not, but I'm not here to talk about whether this is true or not. It's what this person said or what she expressed, that it was gaslighting. And actually I got into an argument with someone because I was like, because thank God between all the comments I found someone that was very intelligent enough to be like, that's not gaslighting. And she started to explain what gaslighting meant. So I was like really supportive of that comment. I thank her for explaining it. And then someone, because I was like also adding to the explanation and to the meaning of this of gaslighting, that also for you to be able to do some gaslighting, you need to be in contact with that person, like to have a really long-term relationship and to live with that person, to know their habits, to have a very close relationship, and you have to like see each other every day, because this is like a progressive kind of manipulation. It's not something that happens in an on and off situation. And then other person commented me and was like, oh, but how do you know that this wasn't a long-term relationship? And it's like I cannot with these people, and I got so frustrated because I was trying to make a point, but not to justify nor deny anyone's action. I'm talking about that I think it's unfair that these kind of events teach younger and impressionable people that to use this term really lightly, when actually there are a lot of people that have been under a lot of abuse, psychological abuse, and a lot of gaslighting in their lives by their parents, by their couple, by their co-worker, and I had worked with these people, and until today they are still struggling with getting their life back together, so whenever I read something like this, about this person saying, oh yes, he gaslighted me because he didn't respond to my messages, because he he then left me, and then he would talk to me again, and then he would disappear, and that's not gaslighting. That could be manipulation, but that's not gaslighting. So, gaslighting is a form of emotional abuse. This is why this is so serious, because it's an abuse, but it's in your emotional. This is why you have to have an emotional connection with that person, and you have to be in a relationship, because for you to get attached emotionally, the person actually is not one-sided thing, it's because we had all been gone through situations or relationships where maybe we felt like being taken advantage of, or that they broke our trust, and sometimes we do have disappointments when it comes to relationships, but in emotional abuse it's totally different, so I think that this is why for you to be disappointed or heartbroken because someone didn't want to continue the relationship with you, or because they disappear, that's not gaslighting. So as I was saying, gaslighting is a form of emotional abuse that you can see in abusive relationships. But you know what I'm saying, relationships. And if I have to think about Lucas' situation, because I don't know Lucas, but I know that idols struggle a lot with maintaining relationships, quote unquote relationships, because their goal, like I was saying in his reading, their goals is elsewhere. Of course that they can have relationships, and very meaningful ones. But what I'm saying is that when you're in a relationship with someone, you need to be present. And in order for you to gaslight someone, you need to be present. You need to be present in the connection, in bond. It's not about you texting each other or you blocking each other on the social media. It's not about that. Gaslighting takes a lot of effort, and it's systematic. It's like the accumulation of a lot of events. It's not, this is what I was saying, it's not something that happens in 2 or 3 months or happens every once in a while. No, it takes years, and it's dangerous. So it's like you manipulating a person. Yes, but to make them question their thoughts or memory about what happened, or about certain events that happened between you and that person, and actually that kind of the person that is a victim of gaslighting can be in a place where they start to question their own sanity. So this is why I was so like, because is what amazes me is that if you are being gaslighted, you wouldn't even have the willpower to write and something about it, because you would be so traumatized and so paralyzed, because sometimes victims of this kind of abuse, they are paralyzed. And maybe you're like, oh yes, but Because emotional abuse is not like physical abuse. It's not something that you can see physically, that you can see the marks, that you can see evidence. Emotional abuse takes a while, a long time for you to hit realization, to be like, oh yes, I was in an abusive relationship. It takes, for some people, it takes years. And it also depends about whether they have like a strong system of support, or whether they can find someone that actually they can open up to and talk about their experiences, because sometimes they are so paralyzed and so traumatized by their own experience that sometimes they feel ashamed of themselves to talk about it, to open up about it. So this is why I think that even though, yes, social media is available and a lot of people take Twitter or other platforms as a dear diary, it's tough, because sometimes I'm amazed by this kind of accusation and how lightly these people can get away with things just by deleting a post, because I'm not talking just about Luca's situation. I'm talking about other false accusations, for example. How they are like, when someone makes like a false accusation about someone bullying them in the past, and then like taking it back, like, oh yes, I did it because it wasn't true, but I did it because I was going through a tough time, I was depressed, so this is why I did it. And that's not an excuse. Like, why, if you are so depressed and if you are so unhappy with your life, why do you put all your energy into ruining someone's life? Why can you focus on yourself? Why are you so interested in that the other person gets what you, quote unquote, think that they deserve? So this is why sometimes I think that even though some accusations of, in some cases, were true, no one talks about the ones that weren't true, the ones that were false. And no one talks about the damages and how traumatic it is for these people that had been wrongly accused. No one talks about what's, because it's just not like, oh yes, this person must be relieved because it wasn't true, or the fans are relieved because this wasn't true. But what about the trauma that you caused in this person, that you almost ruined their reputation and their lives, and you also affected not only the fans but also the family, the friends of this person, because until they gather all the proofs, it passed a long time for that person to feel really bad about himself. I'm thinking about one example, that one person that comes to mind is the case of Wuchin. The case of Wuchin, the ex member of Stray Kids. Like, everyone now is like, oh yes, he's a soloist. Yes, he wasn't guilty of the accusations. But no one is talking about how he's dealing with the trauma of being wrongly accused, and how he's moving on, and how he's doing. That guy is traumatized for life. And there's no apology or pat in the back or a lot of album sales that can heal him from this trauma, that someone thought that it would be interesting to make false accusations for him, and took the time and effort to to make all these things up. So this is why sometimes I think that it's not about, sometimes I wonder, like, it's not about the idol, whether the idol did it or not. Sometimes I worry about what's going on with these people that are making the accusations. What's going on with their minds? What's going on with their lives? Like, because I know, like, true victims of abuse, and they they could have, and at some moment, face um, um, their abuser, but they were so traumatized that they couldn't do it. So I wonder, these people that write these things, like, wow, they are so brave, they are so, like, resourceful, like, so it's like, are you really traumatized? Are you really hurt? Or are you envious of that person and you just cannot stand to see them? You just cannot stand to see them be famous. I don't know, there's something about famous people. And I've been reading for them, that I have several readings for a lot of them. And I don't know these people. Like I said, I just try to connect with the energies. I try to provide for you, like the truest form of interpretation that I can do with the tarot. But I do not know the truth. I do not own the truth. Only the people involved knows. But sometimes I think that that people shouldn't take what they read, especially these, like, psychological terms. They shouldn't, because I want people to educate themselves, because there are people that are really going through these kinds of things. This is why I was so upset when everyone was like, oh, yes, he gaslighted her. Oh, yes, he. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, please, like, stop, like, stop reproducing, like, as if you were some kind of parrot, terms that you don't know nothing about. It's very dangerous. These people that were gaslighted, they feel like they let go of their own reality because they were manipulated for so long about their their reality that they started doubting it. This is why I think that if you are gaslighted, you would probably take a long time for you to be like, oh, yes, that was my situation. And you know that this doesn't only happen for an abusive partner. Sometimes it can happen for celebrities or public figures. That the ones that give some kind of public speech and then they are like, oh, yes, I didn't say that. And then there are people that are like, oh, but they quote them, like, in an interview or something, and they're like, oh, no, I didn't mean that. I didn't say that. And yes, it also can happen, like, in some kind of it's like a power dynamic. It's sometimes it's like when one of the people involved in the relationship feels like more powerful than the other. So it's like probably the one that is, like, weaker is terrified to change, and to stand up to this person because they're afraid. Because and it's not easy to get out of the gaslighting dynamic because you fear losing that relationship. Because it's like that person makes you believe that you are in a relationship. And it's not that this person makes you think that you are in a relationship, in a committed relationship. So there's a lot of guilt also. And also sometimes people that are target of gaslighting, they sometimes don't want to face the reality or what they are seeing, or what maybe if they are some kind of perceiving some kind of traits of manipulation, they sometimes avoid like to realize it or to see it or to confront that person because they are afraid of conflict or afraid to lose the relationship. But what I'm saying, when it's a relationship, it's not a one-sided thing. You are definitely very close to that person, and you are in some kind of committed relationship because, for you to be able to manipulate that person in this very dangerous way, you need to live with that person. You need to spend a lot of time. So it's like a systematic thing. It's like a tango, it takes two to tango. It's not like it's that it's not a one-sided thing. And sometimes I think that maybe if you are talking about an idol being in a relationship with you, if it is true, sometimes I think that for idols, their relationship sometimes is their work. I mean, they could be involved romantically with someone, but at the end of the day, I think that at least in the years that they are working, that they are active, their lives is their career. And sometimes there are people that it seems that they don't get it, that they just wish things were different. But I think that I don't know, I never dated an idol, but I think that I'm pretty sure that they would like, there are a lot of conditions that you have to meet in order to be like, oh yes, I want to see you. I want to be in a relationship with you, even though we will never see each other, and you probably cannot say that we are dating because you are a public figure. So it's like I always say, I don't know if it's really like entertaining or exciting to be in a relationship with an idol, because of all the pressure and all the restrictions and a lot of things. But well, emotional connections do happen. So sometimes you cannot help to feel something, and they are people as well, so they could fall in love with someone. But sometimes the idols, they spend most of their time working, and yes, when they have free time, I'm sure that they can meet their loved ones. But I'm like, these idols are not stable people, when it comes to spending time like with their loved ones, like a regular person. Sometimes they are on tour, sometimes they are traveling. So it's like relationships take a lot of effort, and I think this is what I'm saying, that I think that when they are active, their main focus is to keep working and providing for the group and all. So yes, this is what I wanted to say. I don't want to drag this too long, because it was like some kind of rant. But I hope that you can take this kind of rant and actually take some kind of like information, at least, if you want, because I work with people. I'm a therapist, I'm a counselor, so I would like I actually would like people to be more aware of how these terms sometimes it cannot be used so lightly. So if you want to see, like, there's a very old movie that actually is called Gaslight, that this is where the term gaslight was formed. But it's a movie that is called Gaslight, that I think that it's a movie from 1944. So it's really old and it's black and white. But yes, this is a movie where a husband manipulates his wife to make her think that she's actually losing her sense, that she's going crazy, so he can commit her to a mental institution and steal her money or inheritance. So, of course, that it's a movie and it's a very like dramatized situation, but I think that you could watch that and get a sense of how this process goes. And I think that there's like probably a more modern version. I think that it was there's one version of Gaslight. I don't know if it's called Gaslight or Gaslighting. That I think that Ryan Gosling was the main actor in this modern version. So if you want to look it up, I think that it would also be really helpful. So yes, guys, I'm going to leave my rant here. So thank you so much for listening to this. And of course, if you want to like give me some kind of feedback, what you think about this, I would appreciate it very much. Thank you so much. Bye.